Hey guys, it's Way here, and today I'm going to bring you guys a little bit of a different type of video to normal, but it's one I've wanted to make for quite some time, and it's going to be my favourite players on FIFA 17 per position. So I'm going to be going through and showing you guys my 3 favourite players in each position on the pitch on FIFA 17, and this is a video I was inspired to do after watching Fuji do a very similar one. I'll leave a link down below to his video and his channel. He's a very good FIFA player, he gets top 100 regularly on his Road to Glory account, and he actually showed his 3 favourite players in each position on the pitch, and I thought it would be cool to show you guys who my 3 favourite players are in each position on Ultimate Team, and for you guys to then let me know who your favourite players are as well, because it's always cool to see which players work well for other people, because there may be some players who play really well for me that you've never used before that you could give a go and may play really well for your club and help you get a few extra wins in Foot Champions or something like that. And if you guys then let me know who your favourite players are, there may be a few that I've not used before that I may go and give a go to and may end up turning out to be very, very good. So it's a bit of a different video, but hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Leave a like, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below all of your favourite players on the game. Subscribe if you're new on here, and also if you do those 3 things, like, comment and subscribe, you will be entered into my FIFA 18 giveaway. But without further ado, let's go on into the video. Starting off in goal, my 3rd favourite keeper on FIFA 17 has got to be Jack Butland. Now I'm sure the majority of you expected to see him somewhere in this top 3, but I'm sure a lot of you will have thought he'd be a little bit higher up. Now the reason he's not higher is, for me, he concedes quite a lot of long shots, especially finesse shots from range, and for my liking, that's not good enough if you compare him to some of the other keepers in this top 3. He's very good at close range, reflex saves, unbelievable, very good handling, very good diving, and in the Premier League is one of the best keepers you can get, and on the game as well, one of the best and sweatiest keepers, especially for the price. But personally in the Premier League, I do prefer Begovic. He's a little bit taller, one of the tallest players on the entire game, and that means he concedes less long shots, and also for me, something I really like using is actually baiting people in one-on-ones by rushing out and forcing them to go for a chip. A lot of the time they'll go for a chip instead of a driven shot or a finesse shot, and because of that extra height, I can then just catch the ball. I rush out slightly when I'm in a one-on-one, and then I just go back to the goal line, and sometimes that baits people into going for the chip. Begovic has that extra height, and he can easily catch those chips. But my favourite keeper on the game may come as a little bit of a surprise to you. It's not David De Gea, it's not Neuer, it's actually second man of the match for Hideki. He plays in the Bundesliga, and he is finished. So I'm sure a lot of you may not have used him before, but I saw TVM Reviews do a video on him, and he said that he was his favourite keeper on the game, and he really is unbelievable. I've used him for quite a lot of games now behind a hyperlink of Inform, Hummels, and Boateng. So it's very easy to get him on good chemistry. Even though he's finished, he doesn't play for the best of teams in the Bundesliga. I believe that's Mainz. You can still just use one of the many hyperlinks with centre-backs in the Bundesliga, or just use a full Bundesliga team. But he's just ridiculous at everything. His reflex saves at close range, they're like Jack Butland, but he can save long shots, which Jack Butland sometimes can't do. His handling is very, very good. His distribution is great. And also I believe he has the giant throw trait, which is very useful, as it means he can throw the ball very, very far and start your counter-attack. So for me, he is my favourite keeper on the game. De Gea comes quite close to getting into that top 3, but I haven't really used him as much as the other options here, so for that reason he's not higher. He's obviously a very, very good keeper, one of the best on the game, and he could easily be in there ahead of Butland, maybe even Begovic, but I haven't really played enough games with them, whereas Butland and Begovic, they're a lot cheaper, and I've played a lot more games with them, so that's the reason they're there. Other keepers I like, Ter Stegen and Trapp, they're also great options, but those are my 3 favourite goalkeepers on the game. Moving on to the right back position, and my 3rd favourite right back is going to be Bruno Perez. For me, he's the best Brazilian and the best Serie A right back on the game. I prefer him to Dani Alves, Lichtsteiner, Florenzi, and most of those other players just because of his sheer pace. 92 pace, and you're going to see that as a main trait throughout all of these fullbacks. Pace is very, very important for fullbacks on this game. He's great defensively, great going forwards as well. He's got a good long shot, good passing and crossing. He's good in terms of tackling. He's quite strong. He's got decent dribbling, and he is very, very quick. So for that reason, he is my 3rd favourite right back on the game. You can also link him up to Manolas, Nainggolan, the Footy's Florenzi card. You can link him to Bonucci, Chiellini, and many of the other very, very good defenders in this Serie A. Now, my 2nd favourite right back is going to be Bellerin. Up until about halfway through the game, he was my favourite right back on the game, but then when Team of the Season Walker came out, he took that throne, and he is hands down the best right back I've used on the game, and according to many people, he is the best right back on Ultimate Team. The one player probably come close to that is end of an era Philipp Lahm, but according to most people, because of the sheer pace walkouts in comparison to Lahm, he is the best player. Now Bellerin as a cheap option is brilliant. I prefer his gold card to the gold version of Walker just because he's quite a bit quicker, and for me that is so important, because you're going to be coming coming up against the quickest players on the pitch normally. As a fullback, the quickest players are normally wingers, the likes of Ronaldo, Messi, Neymar, Dembele, Sterling, Walker, all those quick players, they're wingers, so you need pace, and that's very, very important. Bellerin is weaker than Walker, but he's a bit quicker, and for that reason I do prefer his goal card to Walker's goal card. But when Walker's team of the season came out, I've used him non-stop since then. I've played about 200 games with him, 96 pace, he's very, very strong, he's got very good defending, he's the perfect fullback, he's got good long shots, he scores a fair amount of goals for me from corners, he's not too short, I believe he's 5'10", which it's not that tall, but he still scores a lot of headers because he's got really good jumping. His defending and tackling is great, he's very, very strong, shrugs people off the ball easily, unbelievably quick, good dribbling, and a very, very good crosser of the ball, which is always what you want. Moving on to the other side of the pitch with the left backs, and my third favourite left back on FIFA 17 has got to be Patrick Van Aanholt with his inform card. Now, someone who runs him very close is Gael Clichy, and I've used Gael Clichy for a lot of games on FIFA 17, but the reason I prefer Van Aanholt is he's a little bit stronger. That's one of the key downsides with Clichy. He's quite weak, and also he has a little bit of extra pace. Other than that, they're quite similar. They're both good going forwards and good defensively, but Van Aanholt for me just edges it, and for that reason he's my third favourite left back on the game. Next up, we've got Alexandro. Now, I'd put his gold card in at number 2. I'd also put his team of the season card, his man of the match, his inform, all in at number 2, because for me, Marcos Alonso is the best left back on the game. But Alexander runs him very, very close. He's quicker. He's unbelievably quick. He's got very good defending. He's great going forwards, great defensively, very good long shots, perfect in terms of passing. He's strong as well. The reason I prefer Marcos Alonso, and the reason I've played nearly 250 games with him, and the reason he's my favourite left back on the game, is because of his height, his strength, and his pace. He's a lot taller, 6'2" in comparison to, I believe, 5'10" for Alexandro, and that means he wins all the back post headers, which is always good in terms of defending, and he scores so many goals for me. He scored me about 20 goals, I'd say. He's got me about 20 goals, I'd say, in the games I've played with him, either from headers, on corners, or with his long shots. They're very, very effective. Outside the penalty area, he can just smash them into the back of the net with ease. And he's got such a good quality of tackle. When he gets the ball with his tackle, he's going to be keeping hold of possession. He's going to be able to play the ball forwards. He's also got great passing. And with his strength, his height, his pace, he can just barge past players going forwards. And he can put in so many crosses into the box perfectly with his very good passing. For that reason, for me, hands down, team of the season, Marcos Alonso, or even some of his informs, in my opinion, he's the best left back on the game. In the centre of defence, my third favourite centre back on FIFA 17 has got to be Jerome Boateng. The reason I really like him is because he's very tall, he's got very good pace, he's very strong, and he's got great defending. He's got all the attributes you want for a centre back. He's also good on the ball with good dribbling and good passing, which is always good. And he actually has 86 or 87 sprint speed, I believe, which is unbelievably quick for a centre back, especially just for a normal goal card. I mean, he was injured, I think, for quite a bit of the season, so that's unlucky. If he'd have got some informers, maybe even team of the season card, hands down, he'd have been the best centre back on the game because he'd have been so quick, so strong, so tall. But for me, he comes in at the number 3 position. You can also link him up to a lot of great players like Hummels, End of an Era Alarm, Neuer, Alaba, and lots of other good players. So for me, he comes in at number 3. Now, number 2 is going to be Chris Smalling with his footies card. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, why isn't he number 1, especially when you see the player who is number 1. But for me, Smalling is unbelievably overpowered. We all know how OP Smalling is. You can link him up with De Gea and Bailly, Shaw. You can link him up with Walker. So many overpowered players on the game. He's got the pace, he's got the strength, he's got the defending. He's very tall at 6'4", which is great. But the reason he is not number 1 is because of Foot Birthday Ogbonna. He is my favourite centre-back on the game. And I'm sure a lot of you may not have used him before, but the reason I prefer him to Smalling is he's very, very similar in terms of stats. He's got pretty much the same defending and physical, pretty much the same in terms of attributes on the ball, and he's 6'3" in comparison to 6'4", so both very, very tall centre-backs. The reason I prefer him is simply the pace. 84 pace in comparison to 80. He feels a lot quicker, and when you come up against people like Ronaldo, Messi, Suarez, Neymar, those very pacey players, that really counts. He can keep up with the quickest of players on the game, and he can just barge them off the ball because he's so quick, strong, and great at defending. For that reason, he is my favourite centre-back on the game, and I've got a few players who are close to getting into the top 3. Lalas is a very, very good cheap legend. I've not used Blanc or Desailly, but they're also very, very good players, as I've heard a lot of people do like using them. Ferdinand I've used for about 20 games. He was unbelievably good, but I've not really used him as much as I've used the other cards. I've probably played about 100, maybe 200 games with Ogbonna. I've played about 500 with Smalling with his goal card and the footies card, and then Boateng I've played about 200 with. I've not played as many games as those cards with people like Lalas and Ferdinand, but still, they're very, very good. If I played with them more, I'd probably have the best feel of the card, and they may get into the top 3. One to watch Hummels, so I think that's the second inform version. I packed the one to watch card. Is very, very good as well. He's not as quick as Boateng though. He's very good at defending though, better at defending. He's very, very tall and strong as well, and a lot better on the ball. I think he has like 80 passing, which is unbelievable for a centre-back. So Hummels is also a great card, but he doesn't have the best of pace. Team of the Year PK, unbelievable in terms of tackling. Same with the Team of the Season Golden card. They're very, very good in terms of tackling, but they're a little bit on the slow side. I've not had a chance to use Team of the Year Ramos though. He is meant to be very good, but those are my 3 favourite centre-backs on the game. In the defensive midfield position, my 3rd favourite player on the game has got to be SBC Parolo. He has an inform card with virtually the same stats that you can use if you didn't go ahead and unlock the SBC card, but this card is unbelievably good. He's got the defending stats, the attacking stats, he's tall, he's just the perfect centre mid or defensive midfielder. I play him in both of those positions, and I couldn't really fit him into my favourite centre mids as there were so many good players there, so I put him in as my favourite defensive midfielder, as I played about 100 games with him in each of those different positions, and he's just so good at defending. Going forwards, he's got an unbelievable long shot, over 80 in every single stat other than pace. He's very, very strong, great tackles. Defensively is just the complete package. 6'1" as well. He's the tallest player out of all of these 3 I'm going to show you, which really does come in handy on goal kicks. I always like to use a tall defensive midfielder, someone like Pogba, someone like Parolo. Next for a slightly shorter one like Kante, but for me, Parolo, very, very solid player. Number 2 is going to be SBC Fernandinho. Now, both him and Parolo have something that Kante doesn't have, and Kante is the number 1, but Kante has something that hardly anyone else on the game has. Now, Fernandinho is very similar to Parolo. He's better defensively, though, despite being a little bit shorter, just because of his better work rate. He stays back. He plays very well as a defensive midfielder or as a centre mid. Same with Kante. You can play him as a centre mid or a CDM, but I do prefer playing him in that defensive midfield position. But Fernandinho, he's got the very good defending. He's strong, very similar stats to someone like Parolo. He's a little bit slower though than Kante, and Kante does have a lot of pace in comparison to most other good defensive midfielders on the game. Fernandinho is a little bit stronger, but he also has a great long shot. But the main thing that he has that Kante doesn't have is the ability when you get through on goal to have confidence in finishing. Same with Parolo. When I get through on goal with Kante, very often I'm going to fluff my lines. It's going to go wide. I don't have that confidence in front of goal. Fernandinho and Parolo have that. They're better goal scorers. They're better going forwards. But Kante defensively is a workhorse. His stamina is unbelievable. He's unbelievably quick as well. Very good at tackling. Very, very strong. Great passer of the ball as well. Kante, there's not many people who come close to him now. The version of Kante that I've used throughout the majority of FIFA 17 is the inform version, or the one to watch card. It's the same stats as the 85 inform. I packed the one to watch card. I've played with this card for about 300 or 400 games. Fernandinho I've played pretty much the same amount with. Parolo I've played about 200 with. And for me, Kante is the best defensive midfielder on the game. I've not used his Team of the Season card, and that one is obviously going to be even better. Same with his Player of the Year card, even his Man of the Match card, which has slightly better stats than the 85. But for me, even just the 81 or 83 rated regular gold Kante is unbelievable and would come in the top 3, even just with the 81 rated gold version. So Kante for me is the best defensive midfielder on the game. I would prefer probably Fernandinho or Parolo as a centre mid, just because they have those stats going forwards that Kante doesn't have. But for me, all 3 of these players are very good, and if you partner up Kante, Fernandinho, maybe Kante and Pogba in a defensive midfield, you're going to have an unbelievable partnership. Moving up into the centre mid position, my 3rd favourite player on the game in this position has got to be the SBC Moussa Dembele. Yes, another SBC card. The reason I prefer him to people like Fernandinho and Parolo in the centre mid position is because he's got 4-star skills and he's got very good passing and dribbling. You can play this guy as a defensive midfielder, but personally I prefer the ones I've just shown you in the defensive midfield role. He is very similar to someone like Parolo. He does have the 4-star skills. He's also very tall like Parolo, but he's not quite as good defensively. You can play him in the defensive midfield role and he'll do a great job there, but personally, as I said, I prefer him in the kind of centre mid role, and I prefer people like Fernandinho in the defensive midfield role, just because they have the work rates to stay back, whereas Dembele is slightly more attacking. He's got the 4-star skills. He's not quite as good defensively, but he's very strong. He's great on the ball, and I really do like using him. Now, my second favourite has got to be Team of the Season, Mike Jensen. I'm sure a lot of you won't have used him, but I did a review on him, and playing him as a centre mid or attacking midfielder, I believe he averaged 2 goals a game and got a load of assists as well in 5 games. He was unbelievably good, and for that reason I really like using him. If you look at his stats, he has pretty much better stats than Hullet. His long shots are crazy, some of the best long shots I've used on the entire game. His passing's great, he's strong, good defensively, good going forwards, very good dribbler. You can just run through the defences with ease with him. He's hard to link up. You can still link him to people like Ericsson though, and you can get some good chemistry with them. But for me, unbelievably good player. But my favourite centre mid on the game, and someone who also plays very well as an attacking midfielder or defensive midfielder, is Paul Pogba. I'm sure all of you guys will have come up against him loads of times because he's in pretty much everyone's FUT Champions team. Any top player pretty much all of them, unless they maybe have Hullet and some players like that who cost millions of coins. Most of them have Paul Pogba because he's got everything. He's great going forwards, great defensively, 6'3", 5-star skill moves, very good long shots, very, very strong. He's a powerhouse on the ball, a very, very hard player to stop once he gets running forwards. And he has that ability in front of goal to put the ball into the back of the net, just smash it into the back of the net, something that someone like Kante doesn't normally have. So for me, I prefer playing Pogba in the centre mid role, but he plays a very, very good role as a defensive midfielder, and he'd probably get into my top 3 favourite defensive midfielders on the game as well. But personally, I prefer playing him in the centre mid role just because I find that the attacking stats, the passing, the dribbling, the shooting, and the 5-star skills can be a little bit wasted as a defensive midfielder, and also often I end up doing skills with him, which as a defensive midfielder doesn't work well if he does lose the ball. Moving up to the attacking midfield position, my third favourite cam on the game is the SBC, or premium SBC, should I say, El Shaarawy. Now, it was a toss-up between him or the SBC Totti card. The reason I prefer El Shaarawy to Totti is not only I've played more games with him, so I have a better feel of the card, but he's quicker and he's got the skill moves. And for me, skill moves, especially 5-star skills, is so important and such a key part of my playstyle. Beating players, dribbling past players, I find skill moves very, very important. And Totti only has the 3-star. He's got unbelievable shooting, but he does get quite tired later on in the games, and he does feel quite slow at times as well. So for me, Totti would come in close, maybe number 4, maybe number 5. But El Shaarawy comes in at the number 3 position, a very, very good player. Feels very similar to someone like Neymar. Very good silky dribbling, good shooting, especially from range, and a very quick player. Number 2 is going to be Jari Litmanen, a legend who I'm sure a lot of you won't have used, but I've used pretty much every single attacking midfielder who is a legend on the game. The likes of both the Laudrup brothers, Hadji, a lot of players, but for me, Litmanen is the best out of the bunch because his shooting is unbelievable. He has one of the best shots I've used on all of FIFA 17. It's only 87 on his card, but it really is unbelievable. He has got such a good long shot, very good finesse shots from range, very, very clinical in front of goal, very good volleys, very good positioning. He has 94 positioning in game, so always gets in the right positions, and for me, he's just a perfect player. And he only costs about 120k, so he's a perfect attacking midfielder to use to link players together that you can get quite cheaply right now on Xbox. And for me, Jari Litmanen, one of the best attacking midfielders on the game. But my favourite, hands down, has got to be 95 rated team of the season, Kevin De Bruyne. I was lucky enough to pack him, and he averaged nearly 2 goals a game in the first 25 or 30 games I played with him before I ended up selling him on. But he is so, so good. He's very expensive, but he brings something that not many players on this game can bring. He's got 95 shooting, he's got unbelievable passing as well, unbelievable dribbling, and there's only a few other players, maybe team of the season Isco, potentially some of the other team of the season or team of the year cards that have stats anywhere near him in the midfield position. And for me, I've not used the Isco card, team of the season Isco. He's meant to be very good as well, but for me, De Bruyne comes in at the number 1 position because he's got unbelievable shooting inside and outside the penalty area. His passing is second to none, very good dribbling, he's got good skills, he's got good weak foot, he's got good pace, he's strong. You can play him anywhere from centre mid, even up to striker or centre forward. He's going to do a great job there, and for me, he's my favourite attacking midfielder on the game. Moving over onto the left-hand side of the pitch, my third favourite left mid, left winger or left forward on the game has got to be just a normal goal card, Anthony Martial. He's about 5k, so cheap. One of the cheapest, if not the cheapest player in this whole video, but he's so overpowered. We all know how good Martial is. He's got inform cards. They're also very, very good, and you will see one of them in a different position later on in the video. I've not used his left mid inform version simply because a lot of people have said he actually performs worse than the goal card. I don't know why, but for me, the goal card is so cheap, so good, you really have got to try him out if you haven't already. Now, my second favourite left mid on the game is going to be Neymar. Now, Neymar suits my playstyle perfectly. He's got the 5-star skills and the 5-star weak foot, which comes in so handy. He's got the pace, the dribbling, the agility, the balance, the shooting. He's just the perfect player for me. Same with someone like El Shaarawy, Dembele as well, Ousmane Dembele. They're probably some of my favourite players to use on the game simply because of how fun they are to use. Their dribbling, their skill moves, their pace, their agility and balance. They just breeze past players as if they're not even there. And I really like using a lot of skills in my game, and they're just fun players to use. So for me, Neymar is my second favourite left mid, left winger or left forward on the game. But my favourite has got to be player of the month, Heung-min Son. His stats are unbelievable. They're better than Ronaldo's base card. Talking of Ronaldo, I'll explain in just a minute why he isn't in the top 3. But Heung-min Son, unbelievable card, 5-star weak foot, 4-star skills. He was only about 140 or 150k to unlock, which is so cheap for what you're getting with this SBC card. And he's probably going to be re-released over the next couple of weeks on Ultimate Team as well, which would be pretty cool for those who didn't unlock him because he's so good, and he's just got unbelievable stats. His shooting is crazy, his pace is very good, his dribbling is great, he's strong, very good in the air as well. There's nothing this guy can't do going forwards. He's just the perfect left mid, left winger or left forward. But the reason Ronaldo isn't here is because he's about 1 million coins, or has been for the majority of this game. And when I've already had players like Player of the Month Son, for example, I haven't felt the need to upgrade to Ronaldo because obviously Ronaldo may be a little bit better than Son. He may actually not be as good because I know a lot of people use Son ahead of Ronaldo, even in their FUT Champions team, even pro players. But for me, even though Ronaldo may be a bit better, I don't feel he's as much as he costs better. I don't think he's 700 or 800k better than Son. So I don't really feel the need to go and buy Ronaldo when I already have great untradeable cards, which do a very, very good job for my club. But for me, Heung-min Son is my favourite left mid, left winger or left forward on the game. Moving on to the other side of the pitch, my third favourite right mid, right winger or right forward is going to come as a bit of a shock to a lot of you, and it's actually going to be inform Musa Sow. He's unbelievably quick, he's strong, very good agility and balance, very good shooting, and he was so good that I did a separate video on him. I did a score builder originally just with the scene with Musa Sow, but he was that good. I did a player review on him, and I don't do many player reviews. I only really do them on great players I use, and Musa Sow really was that. He ticks all the boxes as an attacker. I personally prefer him as a striker, and a lot of people do like using wingers as strikers, and a lot of the players I've showed you, I often play in different positions. Heung-min Son and Martial, I often move to the striker position in game, and it's the same with Sow. He's got very, very good stats all around, all the stats for a striker or as an attacking player that you want. I believe he has near 90 for pace, agility, balance and strength, which is so rare. Having players with very high agility, balance and strength is very, very rare, and Musa Sow has got that. He's also got very good shooting, good dribbling, he just barges through defences with ease. Quite hard to link up because he doesn't play for the best of nations, Senegal, or in the best of leagues in Turkey, but he's an unbelievable player and quite cheap as well. Now number 2 is going to be Player of the Month Sterling. I've played 500 odd games with him, scored nearly 300 goals, got nearly 200 assists, so pretty much a goal or an assist every single game. And people like Matt Game are very, very good players on the game, rave about him. Matt Game has played over 1,000 games, I believe, with Sterling. I've played a lot of games with him too. He's just such a fun card to use. He feels very similar to Messi, who's going to be coming in the number 1 position. But he's got the very good pace, 95 I believe on his card, very good dribbling, decent shooting, only the 2-star weak foot. But for me, it doesn't really pose too much of a problem because he scored me like 300 odd goals, which is amazing. Also 4-star skills, which is always good, and he just beats players so easily. Silky smooth dribbling and a very, very pacey player. But in at number 1, you guys all know who it is. It's inform Lionel Messi. Luckily enough, I packed this guy a few months ago, and he's the best player I've used on all of FIFA 17, and probably the best player I've used on the entire game. He's so fun to use because he's just unstoppable. Once he gets going, he's got, I think, 98 dribbling on this card or something ridiculous. So he's just so hard to get the ball off. With the LTRT dribbling, he's the perfect player to do LTRT dribbling with. And we all know how overpowered that is on this game. And Messi's the perfect player to do it with because he's got the perfect close control, the perfect dribbling, just like in real life. He's one of the best dribblers in the world, if not the best. And on FIFA, it's exactly the same. He's also very quick. He's got a very good burst of acceleration, just like in real life. And using this in for Messi, it's probably the first time on any FIFA that Messi feels like Messi, because in the past, Messi's not been that good on FIFA. But for me, this card just feels like Messi does in real life. He's unbelievably good, and for me, he's my favourite player on the game. He's just got everything, the pace, the dribbling, the very good shooting, but I do actually use him as an attacking midfielder in game. I prefer him in that role, especially because I play the 4-2-3-1, that's my favourite formation. So I start with the 4-3-2-1 and then swap to the 4-2-3-1 in game and move him into the attacking midfield position in the middle of the pitch. But he plays very, very well there, and for me is my favourite player on the entire game, and my favourite right mid, right wing or right forward. His normal goal card is also very good, and luckily enough I packed that card too. I mean, I've just got so lucky this year in terms of packs, but Messi, he's a great player, whichever version of the card you use. Finally, we've got the striker position. Now, without a shadow of a doubt, this was the toughest choice of all the positions on the pitch, simply because there's so many great strikers I've used on this game, and narrowing them down to 3 was very, very hard. But I'll be covering all the players who missed out in just a moment. But my number 3 position, my third favourite striker on this game, is the 86 rated second form Anthony Martial. We all know how good the 82 rated goal card is, and this is that version there, but on steroids it's that version, but 2 or 3 times better. This card is so good. He's got the pace, he's got the dribbling, the clinical finishing in front of goal, one of the best strikers I've used on this game in terms of finishing. He's got the strength, he's got the agility and balance. Now the strength is something the goal card doesn't have, and this one really does feel quite strong in game, and he's got such good pace as well. He just shrugs people off, beats defenders with ease, very, very good dribbling, just moves past defenders as if they're not even there, which is a very, very good plus point to him. And in front of goal, as I said, one of the most clinical strikers I've used on the game, also does have 4-star skills. Now in our number 2 is a very similar player to him. It's going to be the team of the group stage, Nabil Fekir. A very, very similar card, but he actually has quite a bit better strength. He actually has nearly 90 strength in game, which you wouldn't expect looking at him, but he is actually a very tall player as well. 6'4", not too bad at all, especially considering he's a very quick player too. And he's got very good agility and balance. Well, that combination of pace, strength, agility and balance balance, and also height is extremely rare to have. He's also got 4-star skills, very good dribbling, very good long shots, very clinical in the penalty area, 4-star skills. He just moves past defenders with ease. He ticks all the boxes for a striker, and just like Musal, a very surprising player. I did a video on him because I was so surprised by how good he was, and if you go and watch that, you'll see he just breezes past defenders if they're not even there. One of the best dribblers I've used on this entire game. And finally, in at number 1, without a shadow of a doubt, hands down the best striker I've used on this game, and probably one of the best players I've used on the entire game too, and it's going to be SBC Suarez, 94 rated. His finishing is unbelievable, second to none. For that reason, he's at number 1, simply because he's the most clinical striker on this game, probably the most clinical player on the game. He's my second favourite player on FIFA 17 behind Inform Messi, and he's just got the best finishing you can really expect from a player. In front of a goal, he finishes 90, maybe even 95% of the time. He's got the driven shots, he's got the chip shots, the finesse shots, the long shots, every single type of shooting you can think of, he's got it locked down. He's the perfect finisher. He can bang them in from anywhere in your opponent's attacking third, and you always have that confidence when you get through on goal with him. You know that if he selects the right finish, you're going to be putting it into the back of the net 9 out of 10 times. He's that type of player, and for that reason, he's my favourite striker on the game. Players who miss out, Lacazette. His SBC card is unbelievably good. His Team of the Season card is great as well. His Team of the Season would probably get into the top 3, but I've not used that. You've also got the 90 rated Son. He's another player who I've not used because I've got the 89. I haven't felt the need to go and buy the other card. But the 89 Son is also very good when used as a striker. And also there's a few other players missing out. Aguero is a great player to use on this game. Ibrahimovic is going to be like the target man type of players. Team of the Season Lukaku is a great player. Again, like a target man to just barge through defences. But I prefer players who've got the 4-star skills. So for me, Lukaku doesn't really make it. But I think Lacazette is the closest to getting into this top 3. You've also got people like Griezmann. He's another great striker and one of my favourites on the game. But again, he's just edged out by the sheer class of the players I've put in my top 3. But let me know in the comment section down below who your 3 favourite players in each position on the pitch on FIFA 17 Ultimate Team are. These are my 3 favourites in every single position, and I'm sure there's a few players here that you guys weren't expecting that are quite cheap as well that you guys could maybe go and give a go to. People like Inform Musal, maybe the team of the group stage for Fakir. There's a lot of great players here, so let me know who your favourite players on the game are. Go and check out Fuji's video too in the link down below in the description, see who he picked as his 3 favourite players in each position. And if you guys also have YouTube channels, you never know, you could do a video just like this on your channel showing who your 3 favourite players are as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.